Welcome back to the deep dive. So our goal today is, well, ambitious. We want to give you a fast but thorough map of the human body.
Yeah, without the overwhelm. You sent us a lot of great material on anatomy.
I did, and we're going to synthesize the core bits, what the parts are, what they do, and honestly, some of the really surprising ways they interact.
Exactly. The key takeaway, we hope, is seeing the body not just as, organs in a box, but as this incredibly interconnected system.
A machine of amazing coordination.
That's it. We're digging into these sources to pull out the interdependencies, how one system relies on another.
Okay, so we're covering the 11 major systems mentioned in the sources. Skeletal, muscular, cardiovascular, nervous, respiratory, digestive, urinary, endocrine, lymphatic, reproductive, and integumentary.
Phew. Let's dive in. Foundation first. Structure and movement.
Right. The skeletal system, obvious role, support, framework, keeps you upright.
And protection. Think about the rib cage, literally armor for your heart and lungs.
Good point. It's not just scaffolding.
Not at all. And the sources break bones down into 4 types based on shape. You've got long ones like your femur.
Leg bone.
Short ones like in your wrist, the carpals.
Right.
Flat ones like the sternum, your breastbone. And then irregular ones like vertebrae in your spine.
And that shape dictates function, right? Leverage, protection.
Exactly. And where these bones meet, you get joints. That's where movement happens or doesn't happen.
Right. There's a spectrum. Some joints are synerthrotic, totally immovable, like the plates in your skull, fused, solid.
Maximum protection there. Then amparthrotic, slightly movable. Think between the vertebrae, allows for flexibility but also absorbs shock.
And the ones we usually think of. Diarthrotic, freely movable.
Yeah, that's your ball and socket joints, like the hip, hinge joints like the elbow, pivot joints, gliding joints. All sorts of motion.
But here's where it gets really interesting based on the sources. It's not just structure.
No way. Tip inside, in the bone marrow. That's where your blood cells are made. Red cells, white cells, platelets, the whole lot.
Wait, so the frame is also the factory?
It absolutely is. And, get this, it's also part of the endocrine system. Bones produce hormones.
Hormones, like chemical messengers.
Yep, specifically osteocalcin. The sources link it to regulating metabolism, maybe even influencing brain function. So the skeleton is chemically talking to the rest of the body.
That's unexpected.
Okay.
So structure needs motion. Muscular system.
Works hand in glove with the skeleton. 3 main types. Skeletal muscle, the ones you control for moving your limbs, posture, expressions.
Then cardiac muscle.
Involuntary, that's the heart wall.
Yeah.
Specialized stuff. And smooth muscle, also involuntary. Lines, hollow organs, blood vessels.
Let's stick with skeletal muscle for a sec. The sources mention layers of connective tissue.
Right. Think of it like sheaths wrapping the muscle fibers at different levels. Endomysium, paramysium, epimysium. The names aren't critical, but the organization is.
Why is that?
It allows huge forces to be generated and spread through the muscle without it just tearing apart. Strength through structure.
Makes sense. And cardiac muscle, you said it's special.
Totally unique. It acts as a functional syncytium. Imagine all the cells are linked, so when one gets the signal to contract,
They all go at once.
instantly, the signal just propagates cell to cell. That's why your heart beats as one coordinated pump. It's electrically connected.
Wow. Okay. And smooth muscle.
Much slower, more wave-like. Think peristalsis. It squeezes things along like food in your gut or urine moving to the bladder. We'll come back to that.
All right, let's move to the big transport and control networks. Cardiovascular first, the delivery service.
The engine, yeah. Heart, blood vessels, and the blood itself.
The heart, 4 chambers. Atria on top receive blood.
And the ventricles below do the powerful pumping out. And you've got 4 valves acting like one-way doors.
Tricuspid, mitral, aortic, pulmonary. Got it. Keeping blood flowing the right way.
Critical. If a valve fails, the whole system backs up.
And the heart has its own spark plug, right? The SA node.
The sinoatrial node, exactly. The heart's natural pacemaker. It generates its own electrical impulse to contract. The brain can tell it to speed up or slow down, but the basic beat starts right there.
Amazing. Okay, the vessels. The highways.
Arteries carry blood away from the heart, thick muscular walls because the pressure's high. Usually oxygenated blood, but not always pulmonary arteries the exception.
And veins carry it back to the heart. Thinner walls, lower pressure, often need help from muscles squeezing them.
Right. But the real action, the exchange, happens in the capillaries.
This blew my mind in the sources. They're only 1 cell thick.
That's the key. That microscopic thinness is everything. It allows oxygen, nutrients, waste products, everything to pass easily between the blood and the body's tissues. It's the most delicate part, but absolutely crucial.
And what's flowing through all this? blood.
Yep. You've got red blood cells carrying oxygen via hemoglobin, white blood cells, leukocytes, your immune defense patrol.
And platelets, thrombocytes.
The clotting crew rush in to plug leaks. And all this is floating in plasma, the yellowish liquid part, carrying proteins, hormones, keeps volume up.
Okay, switching gears to the coordinator. The nervous system. Super fast communication.
Lightning fast compared to hormones. Two main divisions, central nervous system, or CNS, that's the brain and spinal cord,
Command central.
and the peripheral nervous system, PNS. All the nerves branching out from the CNS to the rest of the body.
Let's focus on the brain hotspots mentioned. Cerebrum.
Biggest part. Handles the higher level stuff. Thinking, sensing, voluntary movement, divided into lobes, each with special jobs.
Cerebellum.
Back here, coordinates balance, smooths out movements. Like an autopilot for coordination.
Brainstem.
Connects brain to spinal cord, runs
Yeah.
the automatic, essential functions. Breathing, heart rate, blood pressure. You don't think about it, it just happens. And specific bits like the hippocampus for memory, the amygdala for processing emotions, especially fear.
And the spinal cord is the main data cable, yeah. Reeling signals back and forth.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But the really interesting control switch for immediate reactions is in the PNS, the autonomic nervous system.
Autonomic meaning automatic.
Exactly. It runs things without you consciously controlling them. And it has two branches that act like an accelerator and a brake.
The sympathetic and parasympathetic.
Right. Sympathetic is your fight or flight, kicks in under stress, speeds up heart rate, pumps blood to muscles, gets you ready for action. Massive body-wide alert.
And parasympathetic.
That's rest and digest. Calms things down, slows heart rate, diverts blood back to digestion, conserves energy, brings you back to baseline. The balance between these two is constant.
Incredible speed and control. Okay, intake and waste management. Starting with respiratory.
Breathing, fundamentally about exchanging gases. Oxygen in, carbon dioxide out. Lungs are the key organs here. Massive surface area.
But it starts before the lungs, right, with filtering.
Absolutely. Your nasal passages, your trachea, bronchi, they're lined with tiny hairs called cilia and mucus, like sticky little brushes trapping dust, pollen, microbes before they get deep into the lungs.
Smart design. Now, the sources mention something surprising about the larynx, the voice box.
Yeah, beyond just making sound with the vocal cords, it plays a role in pH balance.
How?
By controlling how fast you breathe, you control how much CO2 you exhale. CO2 makes your blood more acidic. So, by adjusting breathing rate, the larynx helps keep your body's pH in that narrow, healthy range.
So your voice box helps manage body chemistry. Wild. Okay, digestive system. Breaking down food.
Starts in the mouth. Teeth for mechanical breakdown chewing. Saliva for chemical breakdown contains enzymes like amylase to start on starches. And swallowing, technically deglutition.
Then down the esophagus via peristalsis,
Those wave-like muscle contractions we mentioned earlier squeezes food down to the stomach.
which is like a muscular J-shaped bag.
Right. It churns the food, mixes it with strong acid and enzymes, turns everything into this soupy mixture called chyme.
And the stomach sends signals too, like the hunger hormone.
Exactly. Releases ghrelin. That travels to your brain and says, hey, I'm empty.
Clever. Then the chyme moves into the small intestine.
This is the main event for absorption. The walls are covered in these tiny finger-like projections called villi, and even smaller ones called microvilli.
Like a shag carpet.
Kinda. It massively increases the surface area, so nutrients, sugars, fats, proteins get absorbed into the bloodstream here. It also gets help. Bile from the liver and gallbladder to handle fats, and enzymes from the pancreas for pretty much everything else.
Then what's left goes to the large intestine.
Yep. Main job there is absorbing water and electrolytes back into the body. Compacts the waste.
And finally, elimination via the rectum and anus, controlled by sphincters.
Got it.
Next, filter system, urinary.
The master regulator of body fluid and chemistry. Core job. Filter waste products out of the blood. Things like urea, creatinine.
And that happens in the kidneys.
Primarily, inside the kidneys are millions of tiny filtering units called nephrons. But kidneys do way more than just filter waste.
Oh, like what?
They're huge in regulating electrolyte balance, sodium, potassium. They play a big role in long-term blood pressure control. And they produce hormones.
More hormone.
Yeah, one that tells bone marrow to make more red blood cells. Another essential for activating vitamin D, which we need for healthy bones. See the connections.
It's all tied together. Okay, so kidneys make urine.
Then ureters, tubes using peristalsis again, move the urine down to the bladder.
Which is basically a stretchy storage tank, Holds quite a bit, right?
Around 400 to 600 milliliters comfortably. It's quite muscular.
And then elimination through the urethra. The sources noted a difference in length there.
Right. Much longer in males, around 20 centimeters compared to females, around 4 centimeters. That anatomical difference has implications, like for susceptibility to certain infections.
Okay, final block. Defense, regulation, continuity. Let's start with the endocrine system.
This is the body's chemical messaging system.
Mhm.
Slower than nerves, uses hormones traveling in the bloodstream, like sending out a memo versus a direct phone call.
And the boss is the pituitary gland.
Often called the master gland, yeah. Sits at the base of the brain, makes hormones that control lots of other glands, like growth hormone, GH, thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH.
So it tells the thyroid what to do.
Yep. And the thyroid in your neck controls your overall metabolism, how fast your cells burn energy. Then you have the adrenal glands on top of the kidneys.
Fight or flight central.
Part of it, they pump out adrenaline for that immediate stress response, but also cortisol, the longer-term stress hormone.
And the pancreas pulls double duty. We mentioned digestive enzymes.
It does. It also makes key hormones for blood sugar control. Insulin, which tells cells to take up sugar from the blood for storage or energy.
And glucagon.
The opposite, tells the liver to release stored sugar back into the blood when levels get low, a constant balancing act.
One more, the pineal gland.
Tiny gland deep in the brain makes melatonin, that's your sleep-wake cycle regulator, tied to light and darkness.
Okay, complex chemical control. Now, the lymphatic system. Defense.
Defense and fluid balance. It's like a parallel circulatory system, but for lymph fluid. It collects excess fluid and proteins that leak out of capillaries and returns it to the bloodstream, crucial for preventing swelling.
And the defense part.
Lymph vessels pass through lymph nodes. Think of them as filtering stations packed with immune cells. They trap bacteria, viruses, other junk.
Like checkpoints. What about the spleen?
Also part of the system. Filters blood, removes old or damaged red blood cells, and holds a reserve of white blood cells.
And the thymus.
That's where specific immune cells, T lymphocytes, mature. They're made in the bone marrow, but they get educated in the thymus gland, which sits behind the sternum. It's also vital for absorbing fats from the digestive system, so fluid balance, immunity, fat transport, busy system.
Very interconnected. Moving to the reproductive system. Obvious primary role. Continuation of the species.
Production and transport of gametes, sperm, and eggs,
Yep.
but heavily regulated by hormones, linking it tightly to the endocrine system.
Testes in males.
Produce sperm, but also testosterone. That drives male secondary characteristics, but also impacts muscle mass, bone density, connecting back again.
And ovaries in females.
Produce eggs and the hormones estrogen and progesterone. They regulate the menstrual cycle, female secondary characteristics, but also affect bone health, cardiovascular system,
All connected. And the uterus.
the muscular organ where a fetus develops, or its lining is shed during menstruation if pregnancy doesn't occur.
Okay, last one. Wrapping it all up. The integumentary system.
Skin, hair, nails, glands. Your body's outer protective layer, and actually the largest organ you have.
Layers of protection, right? Epidermis on top.
Yep, the tough outer barrier. Contains melanocytes that produce pigment, giving skin its color and some UV protection.
Under that, the dermis.
Thicker layer. Contains the blood vessels, nerves, hair follicles, sweat, and oil glands. Kind of the living layer with all the infrastructure.
And below that.
Subcutaneous tissue, mostly fat. Provides insulation, cushioning, stores energy reserves.
But it's not just a passive barrier. The sources mentioned vitamin D.
Crucial role. When your skin is exposed to sunlight, UV radiation triggers vitamin D synthesis. And we already heard how important vitamin D is for calcium absorption and bone health, linked via the kidneys and endocrine system.
And it senses the world.
Absolutely. Packed with sensory receptors for touch, pressure, temperature, pain, your interface with the environment. Meissner corpuscles for light touch were mentioned.
Wow. Okay, we just flew through 11 systems. It's kind of incredible how tightly coordinated it all is.
Isn't it when you really look at the details from the sources?
Like bones making hormones, kidneys managing blood pressure, capillaries being just one cell thick for that vital exchange, or the larynx helping control your body's pH balance. It's mind-boggling efficiency.
And it mostly runs without you even thinking about it. That's the beauty.
The real aha moment, I think, is seeing those connections. How the health of one system, say the urinary system, messing with blood pressure.
Directly impacts the cardiovascular system, making the heart work harder. Or how endocrine signals affect bone density in the skeletal system. You can't isolate them.
They're constantly talking, constantly adjusting.
Exactly. It's all one integrated network.
Okay, so let's leave you, our listeners, with a final thought to chew on based on these interconnections. We know the nervous system triggers fight or flight.